Knock, knock. Clayburgh's there. CF2. I hope your day was good. Mine's okay. I'm so thirsty. Well, it seems we have a bit of a kerfuffle outside the Trump and the Harris debate today. Debate today. Uh-oh, am I live? Nobody's here yet. It's very clear. Our love is here to stay. Yay! Not for a year. Forever and a day. Oh, the Rockies may crumble. Gibraltar may tumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. I hope so. I like Philadelphia too. It's a nice city. It's full of history. I love cities that are full of history. I do love a good city full of history. Yes. Good evening, peace, love. GP! Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Party gets started now. Yeah, party gets started now. Let's get this party started now and get this party started now. .com. I was listening to, actually, Oomph was playing some music on the Discord. So once in a while, you should check out Lolo's Lounge Discord because we have a Champagne Lounge, which is our voice channel. And once in a while, if, Oomph is going to have like music in the background while he does whatever Oomph does, then he puts it on for everybody. And he's got an amazing eclectic collection, really good, really deep cuts, and really artists that I've never heard of. Like, I highly suggest signing up for like either notifications from Discord or something. I try to share the link sometimes, but sometimes I forget or I just move too fast. So please make sure you go into my About page at Real Lolo on my YouTube About page here on the channel and sign up. And I think there's a link there for the Discord, or at least there's a link to my links, and the Discord is on there. So you can join, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Discord is Discord. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And it's actually come in handy a couple times, and then a couple times it's driven us absolutely mad. Okay, more than a couple times. But anyway. So, how do we do today? Did everybody have a good day at school? Did you guys have a good day? Do you need a snack? Did you get your snacks? Do you have all your snacks for tonight? Lee! Hello, my love. Discord scares the fuck out of me. Peace, love. Nothing good comes out of Discord. Nothing. I double dog dare you to show me a Discord channel that is like functional. And I mean that on many different types of levels. Not just technical. Not just one aspect. Is that Flopper? That really looks like Flopper. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of his signature stomach. That kind of bloated, better get your spleen checked look. He's a chud from the convoy. Or not. I don't know what he's from. He's from under a rock in DC. Anyway. Yeah, facts. So, yeah, it's just terrible. It's terrible. So, yeah, I listened to Oomph when he was spinning some tunios. And so I listened up with that, took a nap, ate an amazing sandwich. You're so welcome. Of course, Sandy, good to see you. I made a sandwich. And then also I listened to some Zydeco. I need to listen to more Zydeco every day. Oh, Jen! What? You know what that means. Wait, do you? Yay! Thank you, Jen. That was so generous of you. Not necessary. This is a labor of love, but all the money is real. It's really appreciated, and it goes right into the channel, and that's why we like to dance. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. I love you. I love you. Teresa, hello. How are you? Cash App. Robert is so upset you beat him up this morning. Yeah, it's Tough Love Tuesday. What can I say? You know? Turn her on and away she goes. You know, don't ask the question if you don't want the answer. That's what my mother used to say to me. If you're not expecting the answer, then don't ask the question. She didn't talk like that, really. Anyway, yeah, I was listening to Zydeco. God, I love Zydeco, and I need to listen to it every day. Do I have any connections to Louisiana to create? You know, no. I have not a one. Not a one. My mother grew up in Texas, but she introduced us to all kinds of music when I was a kid. So please, 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 if you have children, please play lots of different genres of music, and just encourage them to like put it in the background all the time. Like that's the best part. Jen, hi, my love. How are you? Hi, Oomph. It's good to see everybody. It was great. I was dying. I just have had enough. And the thing about it is, I mean, whether or not you agree with me or not, anyone, during the whole convoy thing, I was quiet about a lot of stuff. Not the stuff I was noisy about is the stuff that mattered to me and broke my, hurt my feelings and stuff like that. So I will speak out as any human should about the stuff that hurts their feelings. But I also will never suffer fools. I'm done. I'm done suffering fools. If you come honest and say, gosh, I really want to understand this, and I say, gosh, I do too, let's go find out what it means, that's great. But if you come with dumb kind of stupid questions or you just want everybody's help and you don't want to actually like search out information for yourself, that's what I have to do, and I don't know hardly anything, and I'm constantly fucking up people's names. But there's stuff about this that is really important, and I think it's a great privilege to vote, and it's a great privilege. Yeah, they're not real. It's a great privilege to vote, and when you don't value the gravity of this particular situation, or when you don't understand how precious the right to vote in a free and fair election is, and have an administration that values democracy, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this debate tonight, this is not a choice. There's no decision making to be done. Yeah, and then Rob on the space, boomer, I'm sorry. I'm not, I definitely want to be nice, and I definitely want to be understanding. At the same time, there's a point at which I am going to blow. And over the time I've had to deal with all the nonsense that all of us have had to deal with the stupid convoy and the idiots that are frankly involved on all aspects of it. I didn't say a lot. I only talked when I had to. And so, God damn it, when I need to talk about it, I'm going to fucking talk about it. That's my right. And if you don't like what I'm saying, oh my God, join millions of other people in not watching my channel. Any old way, whatever. It's Tough Love Tuesday. What can I tell you? Enter at your own risk. Okay, let's see. I love Zydeco, so it just makes my heart happy. Nonconformity, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're here tonight. Loomer is with Trump tonight. Loomer works for the campaign. Did you guys not know that? She's part of Trump's campaign. So yeah, she does suck. She sucks real big balls. Diana, how are you? Art Music, how are you, my love? Yeah, come on now. Fuck off. Like, I can't. I don't have any time for that. And I especially don't have time for men who are so fucking misogynistic. Okay, I really do need to stop. Tough Love Tuesday is the best, isn't it? I get it once in a while. Why shouldn't everyone else? 8 billion plus people completely unaware of me. That's right. Join. It's a bigger out group than it is an in group. Let me tell you. Hi, Pep. There's my sister. How you doing, girl? How you doing? That is disturbing. She works for him. She works for him. She was on the campaign a long time ago. She was out on the stump. On the stump. In the same room is like an singularity of awfulness. Ooh, what if like a big hole opens? I mean, because stranger shit has happened. I mean, let's just be honest. Stranger shit has happened. Scott, it's so good to see you. Welcome back. Neil, hello, my darling. Democracy is precious. I voted Sunday night in a federal by-election, and there were 91 candidates because one protest group is trying to game the system. See, this is the thing. And, you know, we can have the conversation about parties. I have my own opinion about it, and I don't really care. You know, like, I mean, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. But, yeah. So I'm really, I don't know. Maybe the aliens will come and take them all. This is the thing. I think we have a very, very large chance that there may be actual black holes created tonight. And that actually, I mean, if I was going to put money on what's going to happen, who's going to win, it's going to be the aliens. All right. Robert, you want to know who's going to win the debate tonight? It's going to be the aliens that open the goddamn black hole. Right? All right. So that's my prediction. That's my personal prediction. Just about as good as any other, I think, frankly. I don't know. Who knows who wins? I never got this concept. I understand needing to have their like, you know, let's take a look at our bingo. Get ready for your bingo. You know, come on. You need to understand what your game strategy is tonight. If you haven't printed these, you can go to, actually, you can go to my YouTube, the community page. There's 2 posts, and they link to a Twitter, and it has the pictures of each of these, and you can do whatever you want with them. I don't care. I know. This is the night for alien black hole, isn't it? Come on now. Come on. Let's get out those other bingo cards about 2024. Team Trump winning and sinning. That's right. I don't get on me already, okay? I know I missed a couple of gems for these bingo cards. I don't want to hear about it. All right? Make your own. This is what we got, okay? We got 4 bingo cards, completely different, each unique in their own beautiful way. And then we have a drinking game / soothing, whatever you want to call it. And then just a couple of fun little parlor games, you know, test your knowledge kind of shit. I know. Well, the black hole kind of came up last minute. So I don't see black hole on there. You could put it in one of the empty spots. Oh, yes, it is. There it is right there. Scott Pressler. There's the black hole. Wait. All right, let's see. Oren, hello, darling. Electric shark, no. Okay, so listen. Whales or sharks? That's what I remembered. I forgot about the fucking boat sinking story, okay? Leave me alone. I already beat myself up over it. I already self-flagellated. Okay, so fucking leave me alone. But this is what electric shark. Electric shark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Electric shark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. Listen. Okay, wait. I need to figure out if I don't want to miss the actual debate because I'm being an asshole. Which is really, really a pretty big opportunity for that to happen. Okay, let's see. Come on, because I want to have a backup in case the Associated Press video sucks balls. I don't want to do ABCs because they specifically were like, we don't want anyone. Literally everyone is showing this debate. It's kind of fucking funny, actually. All right, I'm gonna pull up the C-SPAN one.
Of the final episodes of Seinfeld, 76.3 million, and Cheer.
Okay, I'm not doing this. What are the I'm going to switch to the C-SPAN one. Hold on. Don't leave me. Don't leave. What are you doing? Oh, but okay, yeah, we haven't missed it. Thank you. I did roll. Oh, no, I did stuff 2 joints. I guess we can leave it on that, huh? That's like a live shot. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so there's your bingo for tonight. And, parlor games, as I like to call them. You can take a look at those. And then this is outside the, the Constitution Center, or marching towards the Constitution Center, I would imagine. Let me see. T-minus 17 minutes. Thank you, Scott. Jen, I'm aiming for the black hole squares. Hell yeah. We missed the debate because we were all capping on him. Pork bellies are up 3 3/4. Fantastic. I actually love pork belly, unfortunately. I wish I didn't, because I really like pigs, and I'd rather not eat pigs. Oh, peace, love. You go ahead and stream if you want to. I don't want to have you miss out. You can, you can restream me if you want, or whatever you want to do. I don't care. I don't care about that shit. Unless you're, being mean, but even then I probably don't really care. Edibles have been ingested. Wait, I got something for that. Edibles have been ingested. Hello, everyone. Attention. Edibles have been ingested. Not by me, but by one of your colleagues. Use caution when entering the spaceship. Thank you. Stream the stream. We'll stream you. We'll stream you streaming the stream. It's amazing. We're amazing like that. It'll be streamception. Stream-inception. Right? No. That's the other thing. That's the upside down thing, isn't it? Damn. I don't know. Is that the upside down thing? Oh, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Be here. Hang out. Restream. She called for her pipe, and she called for her bowl, and she called for her fiddlers 3. I was drunk last night, dear mother. I was drunk the night before. But if you forgive me, dear mother, I won't get drunk anymore. We should do a limerick for tonight. Inception was about the dream levels. Oh, okay. Well, I'm lost already. Yes, singing. Always. You missed the edibles, damn it. Sorry, Oren. I don't have any edibles. I, however, have 2. Well, and I will have more, but, In fact, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait to light up until it starts. That's right. No. I have driven to Philly, and the streets are narrow. Are they? I don't think I remember driving in Philly, per se. I feel like it's been a while since I've been there. I went for a work thing a long time ago. You have RSO? What's RSO? Well, I'm also watching Sandman at the same time, and it's a Fiddler's Green scene, Kismet. Whoa. Dude. Oh, that's cool. That's deep. That's a deep cut. Dude. I think this is exactly the mood we should be in order to survive tonight, isn't it? Isn't it, everybody? Loomers with Duani. Where is there anything interesting? Should I go to anything more interesting than this guy fighting with the... Or no, I guess he's helping the march? I don't know. Is he blocking the march? Not really sure. Anyway. Oh, no. Wait, what's that? Oh, God. It's Nut Job Collins show on C-SPAN. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. You cannot make me. I'm sorry. I will not. I will not do Nut Job Collins show. I will not. Well, hello, DJ Flyby Freddy. How are you? Did you read it too, Pepper? I don't know. Ooh, mind blown. Fathomine. We're good here, in my opinion. Then switch to C-SPAN. Sounds good. I can make the bingo cards a little smaller. Me. Maybe we'll get a cat on the actual cat cam. You haven't yet. I moved from St. Louis to Memphis. No more legal weed. Oh, nonconformity. No.
No. No. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I love you. I'm sorry.
That's terrible. I can't believe that. Like, why can't we fix this? Like, come fucking fix this. Come on now. Just fucking do a federal thing. Come on. Come on, Joe. Get up in the middle of the night. Sign the executive order. Oh, there's Gavin Newsom. Hey, Gavin. I met him once. Oh, thanks, our music. I met him once. He's very tall. He's very tall. He came to one of my events at the zoo. Hello, everybody. Butterflies! I don't know if I said hello to you when you came in, so hello. Hello. Loomer. Looney Loomer. I bet there's a bunch of idiots at this place. There's a bunch of idiots. Okay, hold on. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fall in love with you. You can't tell me not to do it. Well, actually you could, because everybody should have boundaries. I respect your boundaries. So, never mind. Dumb song. I'm gonna tell you what I'll do. All right, let's see what's up with Gavin the Newsom. There he is. Hold on.
What do you think is her biggest strength tonight at this debate?
Well, she's fierce. She's tough. I've seen this for decades. And I also think she's underestimated in these sessions, particularly, dare I say, with men. I've been in the rooms. I haven't studied game film. I've been up and close. I've known Kamala Harris a decade before we were both in elected office. And I've seen her show up at these debates at a different level. She's disciplined. She is not going to get off her game. I think it's inconceivable. It's an impossible task for Donald Trump not to get off his game. She will get under his skin. And by the way, her name is Kamala Harris, not Kamala. And when Kamala Harris shows up, I think she's going to show up at the handshake. And I think at that handshake, you're going to see something very different from the outset of this debate. If I'm Donald Trump, I would look out. They've never met. He's about to experience something many of us have experienced and seen in the American people, and world leaders will see. A toughness, a character, integrity, someone who's disciplined.
Governor there, Gavin Newsom, talking to reporters. You can see he's swarmed by the media in the media filing center at the Philadelphia Convention City. Hundreds of reporters there.
I want the media filing center. Where do I find that?
Surrogate supporters for the former president will be there as well.
I know. You know, the thing is
before there's members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. They're supporting their candidates and talking to the media. Chris,
no, you can do whatever you want, Cash App. This is just like spaced out trivia. If you cheat, who's gonna know? Okay, no. I'm not doing nut job calling show. No. We'll keep an eye on you, dearest. You can do anything you want, Cash App. I empower you. In fact, I can't wait. I don't know if I even know how to. Hey, Kat. I don't even know if I know how to play during the show. I feel like I have too much going on, and I'm not that talented. I do not believe that there is any truth to multitasking, and I know myself I cannot multitask to save my life. So I need focus. I need focus. Yes, I do. I need focus. How about you? I'd wear a hand condom. She's actually going to shake his hand. I mean, I just think I'm so happy. I mean, not that I'm happy about COVID. I'm not. But I really think that one of the only positive things to come out of COVID is that we really aren't expected to hug or handshake anymore. I really think that's a positive. And yeah, that's the way I feel about it. That's the way I feel about it. Please hit the like. Thank you, Scott. Nice reminder. Oh, who are you calling? It's the debate right now. You can't possibly want to talk to me. We're debating. Let's see. Let's see. Do. Please hit the like. I know, 32 people. Woo! No one on Twitch, but you know what? Twitch is one of those twitchy things. I don't really know what it does. And the pandemic helped defeat Donald Trump. Yeah, I have a feeling it wouldn't have. I think it would have gotten that way anyway. But at the same time, I think you're right. It definitely kind of helped people understand just exactly how stupid he is. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it didn't. It certainly hurt us in terms of the division that he was able to cause over it, which is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we would not, I sometimes I talk about the fact that I worked in Liberia after the Ebola outbreak, but there was a small Ebola outbreak when I was there. And I just know that people in West Africa, in Liberia, they don't take public health like a joke. And I mean, I know children who have far more smarts when it comes to public health than all of the anti-vaxxers combined. They know what they need to do. They know why they're doing it. And, they do it. So, yes, there are times when the government can overstep. Public health is not overstepping. Public health is public health and is very important. Limerick in the DM. Oh my God, here we go. Oh, because we only have a couple minutes, so we better get on this limerick. Hold on just a second. Just a second, I'm invoking the old country right now. Here we go. I hope I do this right. I hope I do it justice, Carla. Me darling. Okay, here we go. A prosecutor Wait, what? Shares her stage. A prosecutor shares her stage with an orange felon full of rage. With him she'll mop the floor and show the traitor the door. We all hope he ends up in a cage. That's fantastic. All right? I mean, really good. Really good. Really good. That was really good. 4 more minutes. What you're looking at right now is the Associated Press live stream from outside or with the protest that is happening. And I'm sure they'll move to the inside. This is their debate broadcast. Carla, that's excellent. I think you need to post that and tag me in it so I can promote the hell out of it because that's brilliant. Honored to have read it. I love a good limerick. I am so excited. I'm actually not excited. I fucking hate these things. I think they're dumb. I think they're so dumb. It's just like a fucking Colosseum and we're all sitting here waiting for the lions to eat the Christians. For fuck's sake. I don't know what the Irish are doing at the Colosseum, but you get the point. Val says, I just read the Mooch and Olivia Troy will be there as Harris Scaramucci? Are you kidding me? You're a human limerick generator. That's why we get along so well. I love limericks. That's a really good one. That was really good. But here's the thing. Scaramucci is he invited as part of the whatchamacallit? Really? Gross. But okay. Oh God. The crypto bro that wants to take advantage of every opportunity to get his fat little chubby face in there. His little Bob's Big Boy head. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, let me make sure we're all up to speed here. Na, 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 na. All right. Well, okay. Okay. Why is C-SPAN always like a minute behind the real time? Have you noticed that? They are literally behind, like, real time all the time. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay. Okay, wait. I want to go to the C-SPAN one. Hold on. I think they're showing inside the media room. Oh, Scott, you're so nice. Wait. Oh, wait. You know what? I want to do the other song. Thank you, Scott. You're so cool. Let's see who got them. Do we know anybody? El Sarmento got one. Claire Ivers got one. Kim! We miss you, Kim. Ren is a chud, but that's okay. Chud's welcome as long as they don't say stupid stuff. TW Time, TME, I don't know you, but congratulations and welcome to the lounge. You are among the honored few, the proud, the loungers. I'm glad you're here because even if you don't like me, you're still listening. And that's that's fine. That's great. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Fantasy Island. That's him? Who's him? That's him. Who's him? I might be mistaken. He hasn't been specifically revealed. I've assumed due to context clues. Oh, gosh. He's the old-timey British guy who takes the vortex to the convention. What? What movie are you guys talking about? Oh, damn it. I missed it. Are you going to have a side window with the Oh, I am now because you reminded me of that. Hold on. Let me do this. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, hold on. Where's my fucking window? Oh, there it is.
A new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special. The most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Oh, Adriana, I'm so happy you're here.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for two candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
I like the floor producer. Go!
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
You see, have fun.
Thank you.
She didn't ask how you were.
It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year, because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
What's wrong with his
President
hair?
Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing
She
to
knows.
do with Project 2025.
She's just not saying it.
That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This
I
was
don't
a
know
group of
how
people
to
that
read
got
it.
together. They came
Get
up
off
with
my
some
case.
ideas. I guess some good, some bad. But it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially
we do.
and create a great economy
the
like I
problem.
did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a
I don't even know
country where
how
the
to read.
economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great
Who
job
are
we
these
did with the
strange
pandemic.
people we
But
don't
the
know?
only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs.
Oh, yeah,
Bounce
yeah,
back, and
see?
it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So,
You know, it's a
Donald Trump has
fire
no plan
hose.
for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors,
Do we have
think
rules?
my plan is a brilliant
Hello,
plan. It's
David?
a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have, and who's going to have higher prices, is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump,
certified badass,
selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. "Thank you, President Xi," exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she
What about
has
the
no
CHIPS
policy.
Act? Oh,
Everything
never mind. Okay.
that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
Well, what a
But
weird
when you look at
topic.
what she's done
A
to our
weird
country,
topic to be
and
a
when you look at
Marxist
these
on, I guess. I don't
millions and
know.
millions of people
Seems
that
like
are
kind
pouring
of
into our country
depressing.
monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million
Black
people,
Bear,
not the 15 that people
hello.
say. And I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too.
Are they
You
carrying
mentioned before,
chips?
we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy.
What happened to the chips
They
conversation?
and she has destroyed
And China. What about
our country
China?
with
Wait a minute.
policy that's insane.
Where are
Almost
you?
Policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump,
She doesn't
you
get
often
respond to
touted that
that
you were able to
bullshit?
kill Roe v.
Fuck
Wade.
off, man.
Last
Come on.
year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president
China.
in American
Hi,
history.
Claire.
Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your
You know,
home
I
state of
forget what
Florida,
I'm
you
talking about,
surprised
too,
many,
but I don't
with
run for
regard to your
president.
6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, "I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks." But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look
Wait,
at the
what?
governor
What's
of
that have
West
to do with-
Virginia, the previous
Never mind.
governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job. But the
So you just
governor
proved that you don't
before, he
understand
said, "The baby
abortion."
will be born,
Okay.
and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that.
Man,
because that
I
predominates,
might just
because
totally
they're
fail,
radical.
Cash.
The
Who
Democrats
knows?
are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick,
I love
which
failure.
I think is a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine.
When did he
also
say
says
that?
Execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion.
Oh my
because the
God.
baby is born
Hello,
is
everybody.
okay. And
This is
that's
not
okay
true.
with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52
Hold on.
years. They've
Hold
been
the
trying
fuck
to get
on.
Roe v. Wade
Who's
into
they?
the states. And through the
I haven't.
genius and heart
It's pissing
and
me off.
strength
I know.
of 6 Supreme Court justices,
Let's see. What
we
was I
were
gonna do?
able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban, because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your desk?
Well, I won't have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea, and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
Wait, we're on student loans?
Yes or no, because your
wow.
running mate, JD
Student loans cause abortions?
That you would
oh my
veto
God.
if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with JD. In all fairness, JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people.
Well,
that
actually,
had loans.
they did do quite a lot of student loan write-off,
so
but okay. Nobody tell him.
So wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, want to give
bada
you time
bing,
to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America.
Blobby's keeping
and
an eye on
understand what
things.
has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women, who are
I know what you mean. Yeah, there's fact checking on the side, but it's not updating right away. Hold on.
Have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted
TJ.
for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie.
Okay.
It's another lie.
What is the
I have
what
been
is
a leader
this?
on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have
In case
been
you
a
didn't
leader.
know.
In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have
What
been
did
a
that
leader
have to
on
do with him?
fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
You don't know how
Answer the
abortion
question.
works.
Because under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could,
veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month.
not true.
And
She needs to
probably
tell him
after
that he's
Just
wrong.
Look at the
Oh my
governor,
God.
former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going
That
to
is
turn now to immigration
check
and border
that.
security. We know it's an issue
my
that's
God.
important to Republicans,
I
Democrats,
fucking hate
voters
the
across
media.
the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done
David
anything
Muir,
differently
turn
from
in your
President
fucking
Biden on
press
this?
card. You're an
So I'm the
idiot.
only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened
and the machines.
To that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said,
let's see where Jason
bill.
Miller
and you know
has
why?
been.
Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's busing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So
he had little buses taking his people to the thing. Oh my God.
The most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go
really
to another
funny.
subject.
That's funny.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes
not even
president,
great Caesar had such triumphs.
doesn't have a chance of success.
Oh,
Not only
Lord.
success, will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
See the beautiful things you have created.
Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this,
seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this
I
is
saw
the
pictures.
This is a clear. My dog was taken.
I saw pictures. Wait a minute. I saw pictures.
Maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying the
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
Don't say that. No, we
Talk
won't.
about
No.
extreme.
I'm white. I'm white.
This is, I
Daryl,
think, one of the reasons
stop
why
it.
in
You're
this
making me
election, I
mad.
actually have the endorsement of
I knew I
200
shouldn't have done this.
Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already,
You know, I
just ask
changed
people
my
who have
mind.
worked
Debates
with
are pretty good.
his former chief of staff, a 4-star general. has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric,
do his eyes look weird, or is it just me? I'm fucking high.
People are not being addressed. I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job.
Not so graciously.
They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13
Oh, let's
people
talk about the Taliban, bitch. Let's talk about the Taliban.
Viciously and violently killed, and I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you?
Oh, that makes it better.
Undocumented immigrants. I know you believe that number is
and
much
another
higher.
one writes a book.
Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah. It is much higher
Yeah.
because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world
asylum
is way down? You know why? Because they're taking their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes.
Where's that damn alien with the black hole?
Because they're destroying the fabric of
Somebody get that damn alien down here and open up. Take him off. We're ready.
They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in.
No cats in
and
Venezuela.
all over the world, crime is down all over the world except
eliminated
here. Crime here is up
by
and through the roof, despite their fraudulent
eliminated by
statements that they made.
the
crime
people
in
there.
this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says
Turns
overall
out I thought
crime
they were
is actually
possible.
coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse
President
me,
Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't
What?
include
What
the
is
worst
that?
cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a
What?
fraud. Just like their
You're an
number
idiot.
of 818,000 jobs
God,
that they
he's
said
dumb.
they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you.
It wasn't a fraud.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently.
I don't know
from
if you
the
know what
Supreme
winning
Court.
is.
I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's
no, it
weaponization,
wasn't.
and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice President
to stop
Harris,
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me.
Hello?
She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to
What
the
the
head
fuck is happening?
because of the things that they say about
What the
me.
hell is happening?
They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
we do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not
Oops,
changed.
sorry.
and
I
I'm
got to
gonna
get some water.
discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down. And name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well,
response?
first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Don't lie.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just ask you,
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
When are they? I think they were.
You might ask her that question.
You were
Actually, they were.
You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers.
You know when they crush up Adderall?
Me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago.
They put it in his burger.
Her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington
Then why did
jobs.
3 of your lawyers lose their licenses?
Nancy Pelosi
Sir,
was responsible.
I have tears in my eyes.
The question
why
was about you as president,
did 3 of your lawyers lose their licenses?
To respond here.
Sir,
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki
they
torches,
relocated. Sorry.
spewing anti-Semitic
He is a liar. Hey, working lap traffic. How are you? Welcome.
The president then at the time say there were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th
bunch of pussies,
was,
but yeah, militia.
I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos. Ouch. And to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up.
I do like how she looks at him.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham,
we all watched it.
Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect.
Excuse me?
It was debunked in almost every newspaper.
It wasn't.
They still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up.
He
They
just
bring
creates
all of
his own reality, okay?
You talk about the Capitol. Why are we
I wouldn't want to
allowing
vote for someone
these
so
millions of
stupid.
people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border.
Let's see.
Because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a
that's
bill
not a good
that
one.
the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President.
people.
And now for something completely different.
Unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus
I wouldn't want to
on
be
this next
aware
issue
of such a
because it really
figure in
brings
such a
us,
position.
this into
Yet here
focus,
we are
truth,
still on.
in these times that we're living in. Mr.
I don't know
President,
why
for
I
3.5
said that like
years
that.
after
Catch up
you
debating.
lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly
He's ready.
falsely claimed that you won, many times saying
He
you
wants
won
to
in a
quit.
landslide.
We want
In
him
the
to
past
quit
couple of
too.
weeks leading up
That's
to
for
this debate,
surezies.
you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
Oh, shit!
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look.
What?
There's so much proof.
What?
All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval.
You're lying. Then why'd your lawyers lose their licenses?
President has ever
Why?
gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was
Seems
what
to be
I got in 2016,
stuck. Oh, okay.
you can't be beaten.
I'm so sorry. Let me go ahead and go to top or go to the chat and make sure you're on live chat.
We need
Neil.
And we have to have it. We have to have borders.
Hold on.
And we have to have good elections. Our elections
Let me
are
make sure
bad.
the chat is.
And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They
Oh, I
can't
don't
even
know if
speak
this
English.
is-
They don't
it
even
might
know
be-
what country they're in
hold on.
practically. And these
Let me
people
make-
are
the
trying
chat
to
might
get
be
them
stuck.
to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm. Lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said
They
there was
said
no
It's not
didn't have
true.
standing.
So there are
That's the other
judges that
thing.
no, it's
They
not
said
all
we
on
didn't have
standing. I
standing,
know
a
David Muir
technicality.
has no
Can
balls.
you imagine a system
Period.
where
Where's
a
that
person
damn
in an
black
election
hole?
doesn't
Thank you,
have
peace,
standing?
love.
The president of the United States
For heaven's
doesn't have
sake.
standing. That's how
He
we
does
lost.
speak like a child.
If you look at the facts, and I'd
He
love
is-
to have you do a special
he's a
on it.
psychopath.
I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania,
Maybe
and I'll show
that's
you.
it.
We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right
It's
now
old news?
is we have a
Oh, really?
nation in decline. And they have put it into decline.
Aw.
We have a nation that is dying.
We have the
David.
strongest
Mr. President,
economy
thank
in
you.
the
Vice
G7,
President
but
Harris,
okay.
heard the president there tonight. He said
Is he
didn't say
Urkel?
that he lost by a whisker,
He's
he
so
still,
rude. Oh my
believes,
God.
he did not lose the election. That was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days.
All right,
This was
what?
a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we
Please
cannot
point out how
afford to
weird
have
he
a
is,
president
please.
of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters.
That's
in
a good
free and
idea,
fair
though,
election.
GP.
And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my
Where's
right
the
the
Family
temperament
Feud button?
or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just tell you about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president.
You tell
They
me.
were afraid
Hey,
of him.
Orban's
China
on the
was
bingo
afraid, and
card.
I don't like
I
to
don't
use
know
the
who
word
has
afraid,
it.
but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office.
This is on, too.
And
This is on
I'll give you a
the
little
bingo
secret.
card,
He
too.
hates her. He
Selected,
can't
not
stand
elected.
her. But
He can't
14
stand
million
her.
Votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote,
And Nordstrom, the Nord Stream pipeline's on there too. It's called Nordstrom Pipeline. It's on the bingo card.
International humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so
Time for him to break
deserve.
the other capsule, isn't it?
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent
Friend of
civilians in
Israel,
Gaza?
that's on the bingo card too.
It would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. There was a big story, and you know it. You covered
Terra
it very
or terror?
well, actually.
Is it
They
terror?
had no money for terror.
I think he's
They
hoping
were
for
broke.
obliteration
Now
of
they're a
Israel.
rich nation.
That's what it
And
sounded
now
like to
what
me.
they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's
I know,
happening
he's
with
gross.
the Houthis
He's an
and
asshole.
Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East.
Yeah,
This
where
would
is
have
that?
Never happened.
What's that
I will get
Egypt
that
money all
settled
about?
And fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even
If you're
becoming
president-elect,
president.
oh, isn't that a violation of the Logan
That's
Act?
absolutely not true.
Wait a
I
minute.
have my
Excuse
entire
me?
career
Can we
and
go
life
fucking back?
supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have
I'm terrible at this.
have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Certified badass.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down.
She can't even reach.
Putin
Her feet don't reach the
week.
floor of her
Said, I
desk.
hope she
Did
wins.
you know
And I
that?
think he meant it.
Did you know that? Her
Because what
feet don't
he's gotten
even
away
reach the
with is
floor.
absolutely
I heard
incredible. It
that.
wouldn't have
I heard
happened
that
with
somewhere.
me.
I think.
The leaders of
I
other
think somebody
countries
told me
think that
that.
they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world, going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective.
No, but I
And
have
Biden,
to.
by the way,
I'm going to do
has
it.
paid a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this.
That's a good reminder because Max, I love Mortal Kombat references, so I'm all for that. Oh wait, are they taking a break? We're taking a break. We're taking a break. Hey, welcome to the debate. We're taking a break. We're taking a break. We're taking a break. Oh, I am watching C-SPAN, aren't I?
Since 1979, we've been your primary.
Yeah, 1979. Hey, welcome everybody here to Lolo's Lounge. I don't know how long the break is they're taking because I don't listen. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, David Muir has 60 seconds to find his balls. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Good fucking luck. C-SPAN campaign trail. Hey, it's Friday night. Does he actually, like, I mean, do you think it might be ketamine? Like, there's got to be something. I'm sorry. I think they grind stuff up and they put it in his, like, you know, mashed potatoes and gravy from KFC. That's what I think. That's my guess. That's where I'm going on this. That's where I'm going to hold on. Snorts bump of UV light. Of course. He's going backstage to stick a fluorescent tube up his ass. I see. Of course. Because he thought that was a really great idea. Oh, wait, is it over? Oh, wait, is it over? Oh, no, I thought it was just a break. I don't know. Anyway. No, they have to do their closings. They have to do their cheer, their final cheer. I have no experience, but don't think ketamine's conducive to interaction. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I thought it can't be that. But what's that other one? Kratom or whatever that is, the other K thing? It's a break. Thanks, Karen. I kind of lost track, TBH. But, yeah, that can't be the end. Well, no. It could be. Kamala HQ Twitter game is fire. Fire. It's a fire, fire. That girl is on fire. That girl is on fire. Yeah, this is his drug break. But I think they grind it up and put it in his food. That's what I think. What do I I know. Well, wait, it started at when? Oh, it started at 6, so it's only an hour. Okay, that makes sense. The nose chunks. Noel worked on The Apprentice and broke his NDA. That woman, Dennison, I don't know what her first name is. She worked for Trump after The Apprentice and then had an NDA, and she sued and got out of her NDA with him. So it is possible. Possible. Alcohol, mescaline, cocaine, ecstasy, LCD, psilocybin, MDA. This sounds like a party to me. I don't know where you're going with this, girlfriend, but I'm following you. That's for fuck's sake, sure. Somehow it avoids being classified as an opiate, apparently because of the plant it comes from, notwithstanding that it binds to what are termed opioid receptors in the nervous system. Interesting. So it's not classified as an opiate probably because of its chemical makeup. I don't know. Wouldn't there be another class that you would call it that? I don't get it. Or I guess it's just an herb, right? But it's just like, whatever. I don't know. I don't have any desire. I like my weed. I love my weed. And if I'm going to go to a concert, I'm going to take some shrooms. And that's pretty much my speed these days. I've done most of the other things, and I don't really need to do them anymore, frankly. But don't take my weed away. It remains gray area in most localities. That makes sense. I mean, I understand that. It's been around a while, though, hasn't it? I mean, I can't imagine it hasn't been around. I don't need to fuck with that. I don't need to fuck with any of that. I had a girlfriend who was like, ayahuasca, you got to do this, you got to do this. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I would have to be like married to Sam Elliott, and he just says, we're going to do ayahuasca in the desert and in our multi-million-dollar mansion that we can go inside and get medical care if we need it. So that's what I want. He's a coke meth. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry.
To defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO.
Boy, he won't look at her. He cannot actually look at her.
Of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is
Logan Act, can somebody, I don't know, what?
I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify,
really, we know. I know where he is.
Like a dog, we don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives.
So he wants to give land to
destroyed.
the Russians.
I want to take
Okay.
this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President
Fuck
Harris,
yeah!
we've heard from both of you on
Get
Ukraine
mad.
tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it.
Are you indicating that he should threaten the United States with the use of nuclear weapons?
3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than
David,
Biden.
you need
In my
to
opinion, I think
fucking
he's the worst
correct
president in the
that.
history of our
Oh
country.
my God,
She
I
goes
hate
down as the worst
fucking media.
vice president in the
Fuck
history of
you.
our country. But let me tell you something.
Why
She
is
a
this allowed to
horrible
happen?
negotiator.
Why?
They sent her in to negotiate as soon as
Why?
they left. Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow.
Yep.
And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
Thanks, nonconformity. We're glad you're here.
Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker.
I love you.
Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban.
How many?
Because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people.
Well, they're a fighting force?
But I got involved.
What?
And Abdul is the head of
the
Taliban.
God.
He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish,
the equipment was decommissioned.
Blew it.
And it was more expensive to bring it back. So yeah, it was smart, actually. I'm glad they did it.
They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the
I
most
can't. I mean, this is like David Muir is basically holding Trump's dick as he takes a piss in the restroom. That's what happened during the break.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country.
So
Mr.
we get
President, you recently
nothing?
said of Vice
We get
President
no
Harris, quote,
fucking...
I
Oh
didn't
my
know
God.
she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking...
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black.
Where'd you read that?
Okay, either one was okay with me.
Where did you read
That's up
that?
to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's...
David, you're a prick.
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years.
Whatever she just said.
Including Mayor Bloomberg agreed with me on the Central Park 5. They admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an honest choice between these two. I get it.
Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help
I don't know about
in that most critical stage of your
butterflies.
child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
Thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn
we
back to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She
please.
has a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate.
You know, you could turn his
everybody's
mic
gun.
off.
President Trump,
She
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
no,
President
the former
Trump.
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
going
need
to move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he
President
has said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed
fuck
to
these
repeal and
people.
replace the
Fuck
Affordable Care
you.
Act, also known
Fuck
as
you,
Obamacare.
bitch.
You have failed to accomplish that.
Fuck
now
you,
say
Lindsay.
You're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do
Fucking
something
cunt.
much better. Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? Never going to be great.
I hope he dies in
Or do I
prison,
let it
alone
rot?
and scared and
I felt I had
sad.
an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can
Get
be,
ready to
or do I let it rot?
flood the
And I
Twitter
saved
of
it. I
fucking
did the right
ABC
thing.
News and
But
Brian Muir
it's
and
still
Lindsay.
never going to be great, and
Shit
it's
for
too
brains.
expensive for people. And what we will do
Because
is we're looking
I
at
need
different
this.
plans.
I need these
If we
bitches
can come up with a
ratioed.
plan that's
I need
gonna
them
cost
fucking
our
ratioed for
people,
tonight.
Our population less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do
Painfully.
not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
In 2 weeks.
Vice President Harris,
2
in
weeks.
2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate, and the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies
saved
to
many
deny
lives.
people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma? If
I
someone was a
do.
breast
I
cancer
remember that.
survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president, and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act.
Do you remember when you had to worry about that for your new insurance?
Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did.
Yep.
And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice President
prologue
Harris, thank
in terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to
Yeah,
an
stay
issue
safe,
that's
those in the
important
path
for
of
a lot
Francine.
mistake.
Stay safe.
Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up.
Why didn't
you
he?
ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also
That's right, Neil.
increased
And
domestic gas
yeah, it's
production
right.
to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while
That's pretty
I have
cool,
been vice
Sharon.
president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto
Keep looking
plants,
at 'em.
not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
It didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're
Good,
not going
Jen.
to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, They get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different
The
countries.
laptop!
And then you wonder why.
Damn
is he
it, I
so
took it
loyal
off the
to
bingo
this one, that one,
cards.
Ukraine,
Fuck.
China. Why is he? Why did he get $3.5
It took Biden
million
crime family
from the
off
mayor
too.
of
God
Moscow's
damn it.
wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
To who?
We'll be right back with closing statements from
To
both of our
who?
candidates. An historic night. This ABC
Oh, you didn't
News
ask about
presidential debate
childcare. Good
from
job,
Philadelphia.
ABC. Good job. I'm real glad you got that question in about underwater basket
ABC
weaving.
News presidential debate will
Idiots.
continue after this.
Jesus Christ. Why'd he get $10 million from Egypt? Oh, sorry. I've got to do this.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45
This year,
years of
C-SPAN
covering
celebrates 1945. Yikes. Yikes. Rawr. You know, sometimes C-SPAN shits the bed after 2 hours. We better be careful because I don't want to get that. This is ridiculous. She's doing a great job, I think. Although I thought Joe Biden did okay in the other. See, this is why I'm not a good debate person because I'm like, I don't give a shit about who says what. It's not like Kamala's going to say something that makes me go, oh my God, I can't possibly vote for her. What in the world was I thinking when I said I would vote for Kamala? What was I thinking? I wonder how the Chuds are probably feeling fine because they don't understand words. And so it really doesn't matter because according to them, they're winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to be them because you just tell yourself you won and then you win. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even believe like this is an issue. Oh, thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Oren. I love that everyone is hanging out. It's been so great to have everybody come in the mornings and then come to these events. I'm so happy. Hey, programming note while we're waiting for them to come back. Tomorrow morning, 6:30, there is the Wake and 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. There is the Wake and Bake with Lolo. And special tomorrow, we got movie day. I'm so happy there's no audience. Okay, movie day tomorrow. I'm going to be showing Jim Stewartson's movie American Mindfuck, the documentary that Q does not want you to watch. So please come and join us for that film in the morning. I'll probably start a little bit after 7 at Pacific time, but I will be live at 6:30 a.m. Pacific as usual. Start the movie about 7 that time, so 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And I'll be showing the movie. Yes, tomorrow morning on right here at Real Lolo on the YouTube Leos. And let's see. Then tomorrow night, hopefully, I don't know if Jim's doing his space tomorrow night, but I hope he might be. I don't know. We'll see. Thursday morning, I might have to cancel Wake and Bake because I have an appointment in the morning. I just have to figure out how fast I can get there. So stand by, but I'm planning on doing a show every day this week. Then we're going to have some pre-recorded bedtime stories on Thursday and Friday morning. Also, Wake and Bake. Saturday, of course, is the lounge, Lolo's Lounge. If you're not familiar, thank you to the 40 viewers who are here with us today. And if you come to Lolo's Lounge, we hang out Saturday nights, 6:30 p.m. that moment. Pacific, etc., etc. Please hit the like. Please share the broadcast. Please subscribe. It's free. Memberships are available. They're 99 cents a month. Not really. I mean, like it's great if you do that, but it's just fun to have like stickers and stuff like that. But yeah, we're having lounge this Saturday. And then interspersed, I'll do some gaming once in a while. So we do a little bit of everything here at Lolo's Lounge. Sometimes I record music if I ever get my shit together. I have wonderful, talented friends who create music. So we create music together once in a while or do parody songs. So there's lots of stuff. Oh, wait. Huge programming note this Sunday. Hello. Democracy Dino will be live in person at the California GOP bullshit thing at the Universal Hilton in Hollywood. And I'll be in my half dinosaur suit, which is why I have my new Democracy Dino t-shirt. which I'll show you the back, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But anyway, has Lolo's Lounge on the back. So I had to cut the sleeves off, of course, because that's what I do. All right, hold on. We're coming back. There they go. I have the... Are we there? Are we live?
Center in
Okay, there we go.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Woo! Anyway, Sunday,
again,
12:30
David
Pacific
Muir
time.
and Lindsay Davis.
Check the channel.
Welcome
I've got
back
everything
tonight. The
set
time has
up.
come for
Hit the
closing
bell, make it
statements, and Vice
solid.
President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring
Karen,
that we
thank
have
you.
the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've
Ask
had
Matt
3.5
Gaetz.
years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe
Which
in
ones?
things like we're not going to
Cats.
frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not
She
going to
just
do
said-
things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried
Congrats,
that,
Sharon.
and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country
Oh, the
for the
lurkers.
sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're
Is this
being
your
laughed at
ending
all over the
statement?
world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have
I think
any
someone needs a
idea
door
what's
knock.
going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military.
Beautiful, Sharon.
She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president
in the history.
That's a real home run there,
Trump,
champ.
Thank you. And that is our ABC News
Zombie wars, King Kong wars,
debate from
everything.
here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center.
Well,
I'm
that's
Lindsay
down
Davis.
And I'm David
Okay.
Muir. Thank you for
Stay with
watching
me.
here in
Don't
the US
leave.
and
Don't
all
leave.
over the world and from all of us here at
Okay,
ABC
yeah,
News.
you're an idiot.
Good night.
Everybody hates you, David. So there, everybody can't stand you. I'm going to try and find a live shot of this room
and
thing.
That concludes the ABC presidential debate.
Oh, this is
C-SPAN's
C-SPAN.
coverage
I'm on
of it
C-SPAN.
Continues here tonight with viewer reaction.
No.
And
Oh,
reaction
no.
on the ground.
Hell no.
From the candidates' support.
Hell no.
As you can see,
I'm not doing that.
Reporters swarming there in the spin room. Let's go down into the spin room at the Philadelphia Convention Center and listen in.
She's moving in the right direction, showing up in the right parts of our state in order to make the case.
Oh, you bitches. All right, hold on. Don't leave me. Damn it. Where the hell? Oh. Where is the back room? Where is the back room? I don't give a shit about their watch party. How about that? Well, maybe they're not going to give me an easy view. Hold on. Wait here. No. No. Oh.
Overall, there are many times where they got into an issue of substance, but you saw that it was somewhat derailed by Trump's answers, where he somewhat rambled, much like he does at rallies. One case in point is when they were talking about the border bill. It's been a long-time Democratic talking point this year that Democrats say Republicans tanked the border bill that was bipartisan in Congress because
This is the
Trump
Washington
called and said,
Post
"Don't vote on it.
post
I want to make this a voting issue."
show.
So when he
So
was
we'll stay with
asked by
this for a
David
minute.
Muir, could you tell us why you told Republicans to tank that deal? He then pivoted, and one of the things he pivoted to was this story that many people may have heard for the first time about claims that pets are being taken from homes in Springfield, Ohio, and Eaton. It just really was a bizarre moment, and that is just an example of the times where there was a question of substance on the table, and then it seemed to be derailed by Trump going on in an angry way. So I think right now what we're going to hear from those coming into the spin room here to tell us how each candidate did. I'm sure we'll hear from the Trump side.
I like
that
her
he did
too.
well.
I
In
wish
fact,
she would work
noticed
for someone
their
else.
campaign put out a statement saying that he won, he shared his bold vision, but they also sent that about 20 minutes ago before the debate ended. So it seemed it might have been scripted. I'm sure we're going to hear from the Harris people that she did a great job as well. So we'll be here trying to monitor those responses from both camps. But overall, it does look like Harris came in knowing the job she had to do, and we're going to have to see in the coming days and weeks what polling has to say about the job she did tonight.
All right, thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, I think if
I
you
guess
don't
we
push those
will.
up
Oh,
from the
I hate
campaign, you're
these
fired,
people.
Basically, it's like a #1 job. Say you won the debate and did well. What are your
Limerick
takeaways,
alert.
James?
This debate was about Donald Trump. It was not about
Hold
Kamala
on, I'm
Harris. We heard at the end Trump, in his closing statement, say what I think he had prepared to say, but he repeatedly took the bait Rhonda was just talking about. He was on the defensive from 10 minutes in. Every time Kamala Harris kind of threw some chum in the water, he swam after it. From talking about crowd size and rallies and people leaving to the Taliban to John McCain and a bunch of other examples, Trump sounded angry, even unhinged at times. This debate was a referendum on Trump, and if this election is a referendum on Trump, Kamala Harris will be the next president. She was able to keep him on the defensive. She was able to keep the debate about him and not her.
And yet ahead of time, JM, as we were previewing what was to come, the focus was all on Kamala Harris. How would she perform tonight? How would she be judged by the viewing audience?
Yes, and I think that the debate in some ways was about Harris in this sense. Harris needed the debate in some ways more than Trump just because Harris was the lesser known quantity. But I think that Harris, to James's point, made the debate about Trump because she threw out this bait, and as you
weren't so
aptly put
dangerous.
it, he swam
It
after.
reminds you of an old man yelling at the clouds. That was his thing. Get off my yard. That's what he did all night. Contrast that with the voice of Harris laying out the question for everyone that matters. And so I think the whole country can see what happened tonight. We'll keep pushing forward. That's the way that the country wants to see our politics be. She laid it out clearly. Donald Trump brought nothing tonight. Anger, resentment.
Governor Walz, I do want to ask you, she did not answer questions on abortion restrictions. She never really answered that question. Can you clear that up, where the Harris-Walz ticket stands on that?
Certainly, and you couldn't get any different than this. The reinstitution of Roe versus Wade, what was the law of the land for 52 years. You saw this in there, and him pushing back to the states. She's exactly right. It's people like Amanda in Texas, which everybody saw on the stage in Chicago.
I don't have any
really bleeding
implements.
out, having sepsis twice because she can't get the care.
I don't have any
She's been
implements
absolutely
left.
clear on this. Everything Donald Trump said, that is untrue. The clarity of this is Roe. When you have Roe, you have the protections in place where women make their own decisions with their health care providers, not Donald Trump.
Okay, thanks so very much.
It was
for
impossible to
joining us,
respond to
Governor
a
Walz.
fucking fire
And we
hose of
have the other
bullshit.
side of the ticket, we have Senator J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's running mate, joining us now. Senator Vance, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
So I want to get to one part in the debate where you came up. Donald Trump was asked if he would veto a national abortion ban. He didn't answer the question, suggested, I guess, that he wouldn't. And then it was pointed out that you, in fact, said not that long ago that he would veto a national abortion ban. Can you explain the mix-up here?
Well, I think the president's been very clear that he doesn't want a national abortion ban. I think in some ways he finds the question a little bit ridiculous, because why are we asking him about legislation that's never going to actually happen, and why he would veto it or not veto it when he says very explicitly that he doesn't support a national abortion ban and he wants these policies to be made by the states. But I think there's a deeper and more important issue here in this debate, which is that you had Kamala Harris effectively echoing platitude after platitude after platitude. The American people can't pay their grocery bills on platitudes. They can't put their kids in a house on platitudes. And Kamala Harris had a lot to say, but very little actual substance behind it for how she's going to lower grocery prices, secure the border, and make housing more affordable in this country. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She can't run on a record, and she apparently can't run on much of her plans either, because it's just a lot of slogans and not a whole lot of substance.
But Senator Vance, why won't he just say that he would veto the national abortion ban? And by the way, had you spoken to him about it before you were put in a position to answer that question?
No, I hadn't spoken to him about it because, again, Donald Trump thinks the question is absurd because he doesn't support a national abortion ban, and he's been explicit about it. And John, I think that it's so
Nobody tell Ralph
for the
Reed
media to focus so much on an issue where Donald Trump has been crystal clear, and not on the fact that people can't afford groceries and housing because of Kamala Harris's policies. This election is actually quite simple, and Kamala Harris and apparently the media would like to distract Americans on issues, by the way, that Donald Trump's been crystal clear about, but they're not talking nearly enough. This debate didn't talk nearly enough about the fact that Americans are struggling because they can't afford groceries, they can't afford housing, and a lot of their kids are dying of fentanyl overdoses because Kamala Harris has let the Mexican drug cartels take over the southern border. This
well,
is a disgrace what's
then
going on in our
less
country,
groceries.
John, and we could do so much better if we just had better leadership. We've got the best
I'm
workers,
so sorry.
the most
Oh my
beautiful
God,
country, the
don't
best
cancel
natural
me. I'm
resources,
sorry.
But Kamala Harris's leadership is
sorry.
squandering the great benefits of this country. It's why we've got to get back to Donald Trump's leadership.
Senator, by the way, I asked because he hadn't been crystal clear, and he said something different than what you said. That's why I was seeking clarification. But let me ask you about this for just very quickly. I heard Donald Trump before this debate describe Kamala Harris as, I'll just read a few of them, a low IQ individual, somebody who doesn't have the mental capacity to be president, really dumb, unable to put two sentences together. Is that what you saw on the stage tonight?
John, what I saw was a lot of slogans. I think the American people are smart, and Kamala Harris talks to them like they're children. She repeats these ridiculous platitudes where if you actually think about what she said, you realize
I get
that it
it.
doesn't
Just
make
say
any
platitudes.
sense. She talks a lot
Platypus.
about her plans, but then her plans,
Don't mess
when
up.
you analyze the substance, don't make any sense. And more importantly, John, the American people don't get fed on plans. She has been the vice president for 3.5 years. What
Plants,
she
they
can't
do, though.
refuses to do,
Yeah,
and has no ability
plants.
to do is to say, I
Plants work.
accomplished lower prices because she didn't, or I accomplished lower housing prices
I
because she
thought the
didn't, or I
president doesn't
secured the
control
southern border
prices,
because
though.
She didn't do that. She
Whoops.
has failed as vice
Yeah, I
president.
see.
And the
I get
fundamental
you.
question
24
is,
bits,
do we
no
want to give her a
more.
promotion? I think the answer has to be no, John.
Platitudes. Platitudes.
Senator
Wait,
Vance,
here we go.
Thank you
Here
for
we
joining
go.
us, Mary.
One thing
Here we
both sides
go.
can agree on, this was a
Oops, no.
consequential night in this race. More reaction when we come back. Stay with us.
Platitudes we will be giving. She gave too many platitudes. I do not understand why she insists on giving us platitudes.
You're 24.
When she should not be giving
He's
us
54.
Yeah. You should not be giving any platitudes. It is not the thing to do when we, oh wait, that's something we do. No, never mind. I don't know what platitude it is. I thought it was okay.
I mixed up platitudes with slogans. I am a robot. I am Peter Thiel's puppet. I think that Rene Girard is an amazing Catholic philosopher, and I think cats are weird, although I do not want anyone to eat them. I mean, you know, I can't even think of a cat you should eat. Not a tiger, not a lion, not a polecat. None of them. Don't eat them. Don't eat the cats. And don't have cats as a lady who doesn't have children. You must have cats. Wait, what? No. You should get married. And if you don't, we're going to put you on a registry. So there. And you're going to have to do things. With Andy Gosar. No, wait, what's his name? Is it Andy? No, it's Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar. God, I get those two mixed up. Jesus. I get those two mixed up. Well, wow. Shish kebab is delicious. Shish kebab cat is delicious, though. That's true. Yeah. And, you know, don't try the, well, okay, I don't even have a joke. God damn it. Yeah, it's Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's I'm still a piece of garbage. That's what Hi-Fi created for Peter Thiel. I'm still a piece of garbage. Yeah, Paul Gosar is a freak. So is Andy Biggs. All of them. Right to jail. Okay, off topic, but please someone explain the wives' beard thing to me. Please, I could have fun with that. Wait, the wives' beard? Tell me more. Gosar nods his head like The Walking Dead. I know. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't really care what's wrong with him. I have enough problem with his politics. I don't care about his physical illnesses. Max, Reed makes a good point. When Kamala noted Trump's email or small rallies and how he never talks about the voters, just himself, that derailed him. It did. I think she got him. I really do. Wow, what an incredible fire hose of BS. Right? Like, and I, you know, I don't really care about like the equal time and stuff, except for when it's like, literally, you're letting him like spew lies and you're not at least giving her a chance to say that's a lie. And the reason I say that is because his goal is to put as many lies in a fucking short amount of time as possible. And so when he does that, it's like, you got to give her a chance to fucking respond to like 7 things that he said that were outright lies and quite frankly, very incendiary. You know, like, fuck, man. That's hot here.
So
Disinformation.
You
Oh,
heard the
Jesus
debate.
Christ on a
Remarkable
cracker.
debate. Bottom line, what'd you think?
Oh my God.
She was exquisitely well prepared. She laid traps, and he chased every rabbit down every hole instead of talking about the things that he should have been talking about. This is the difference between someone who's well prepared and someone who's unprepared. Whoever did debate prep for Donald Trump should be fired.
Well, the Malibu rum
he was
kicked in.
not good tonight at
Chris
all.
Christie's
and
off.
what Harris did was what she had to do, which was to prove that she belonged on that stage. She has a voice that wants to try to unite the country. And Donald Trump spent more time talking about people eating pets, people at his rallies, and whether he had more or less than he did about the economy. And that is a huge fail tonight. I think what we're going to see is that Kamala Harris is now being seen by a lot of voters.
Thank you, Karen,
as a
for the
potential
definition of
president.
beard.
That's what she needed to accomplish tonight. Trump better get to work, or he's going to lose this election.
Characteristically blunt assessment from Governor Chris Christie. Thank you, Governor.
Which
Mary?
is
All right, let's go to former DNC chair Donna
why
Brazile.
it's
So, Donna,
kind
you have
of
certainly studied many a
it's a
debate in
very
your career. How does this one
old-fashioned
compare?
and frankly
I think it was one of the best debate performances I've ever
offensive
seen in my life.
topic.
And I've seen
We
a
don't
lot,
know,
and
we
I've
don't call
helped a lot
people
of
beards
people prepare
anymore.
for these, big
So it's
moments.
kind of
She
lost.
Let the moment. She seized
not
the
appropriate.
opportunity to tell the American people what she would do during her 4 years. She commanded the issues, and she did not allow the former president to bait her. Instead, she led the way.
Oh no,
that
was Christie.
She turned the page, and I think this race is about to get even more interesting now.
We will see if it moves the needle, Donna. Thank you.
All right, over to the other side now. Former RNC
It was
Chair
beautifully
Reince
said,
Priebus.
GP.
All right,
It's a great
Reince,
definition.
The Harris campaign says they want another debate. If you were advising the Trump
Thank
campaign,
you for asking,
would you
Peace
tell them to do
Love. I like us.
Sure, I would tell him to do it. And the reason is like I said before, Donald Trump's numbers just don't move. I mean, the reality tonight, I know Donna's excited, but the truth is Kamala Harris didn't address the most important thing that the American people care about, which is the economy and the cost of living. She had no answers on immigration. She had no answers when she was asked about defunding the police. She had nothing to say about the families that were lost in Afghanistan, which was a true layup. She should have been fact-checked a lot more on some of the things she said in regard to this comment about a bloodbath, which was about the auto industry. So look, I think a lot of things were not said tonight that she needed to say in order to move the numbers, and I don't think Donald Trump's numbers move at all. They haven't moved
chase
at
coach
all for months.
Reince Priebus, Donna Brazile, both thank you for your time.
All right. Well, I got to say again, what a
Karen, you're
incredible
funny.
debate, consequential debate.
Don't worry
no
about
doubt.
it.
I don't know.
No,
how
you're
many
not.
votes
You're
will
not being
actually be moved. I
insensitive.
don't know how
No,
many
stop.
persuadable voters
Stop.
are actually
You're
out
not being
there.
insensitive.
But
This is
Kamala
a learning.
Harris
We are
had a
learning,
chance here
and
to
it,
introduce
and
herself to the country,
I think that's one of those terms
to
too
people
that
who know who she is, but
people
don't know
kind of
where she
like
stands. Now, you
they
could
use, and
debate
it's
how much she did
I don't
in
know.
terms of the
I just
specifics of where she
yeah.
stands.
Anyway,
but she
please
stood
don't
up
feel
there,
bad. Never
and
feel bad.
I think it was very
No,
significant
this
to hear
is
Chris
not
Christie
what it's
say,
about.
that she acted
You're very
like
cool.
She seemed
We
like
love
she
you. No
belonged.
worries.
Exactly.
I'm glad
and
GP
Chris was
really put
clearly
it beautifully.
impressed with
That's a
that.
great way
But
to
to your point,
to put
John,
it.
What
I think.
matters is what the voters think. Kamala Harris was hurling things
Why is
against
Reince
Donald
Priebus
Trump, and he's been
allowed?
convicted on January 6th and everything else she could throw at him. But in the end, right now, he is tied
I would love to
with
see you in
Kamala
a
Harris.
beard,
Does
GP,
this
although I
change
know.
anything? We've all seen debates where people are very proud of
I
what
love
they
you
did.
too,
Hillary
Teresa.
Clinton
This
thought
is
she
fun.
won that debate, many debates in 2016, and she didn't win. So you have to be very careful, and it's very important to see what the voters think.
And look, the Harris campaign certainly thinks that they were, they put him on the defensive. They are going to keep getting out and making this message. She's going to be out there in those critical battlegrounds again later this week. They're so optimistic. They want that second debate. As Rachel said, the message from the campaign tonight, Vice President Harris is ready for a second debate. They're looking for one in October. They say, is Donald Trump, ? One last goading of him to end the night.
Wow, that is something else. I did not predict that at the beginning, Rachel.
Bottom line, voters out there want a change. That's what the polls say. And both of these candidates really trying to present themselves as the agent of change. We will have to see in the polls who did the most effective job of doing that tonight.
Change?
We will see. All right, that is
Oh my
it for
God.
us here
I'm
in
sorry.
Philadelphia.
I could
A
do
night
that
to
job.
remember for
ABC,
sure.
call me.
Our race for the White House post-debate coverage continues on ABC News Live, Disney Plus, Hulu, and anywhere
They're turning off their YouTube channel. All right. Well, my goodness gracious. Hey, how you doing? You know what we're going to do? We're going to throw up the campfire because we don't like to end evenings with ridiculous shit on the screen if we can help it. So, let me see if I can get... There we go. Ah, that's better. Oh, look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. Wait, what? Never knowing my right foot from my left. I don't know the words to this song. I'm just misty and too much in love. All right. I am too much in love. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I would love to be a debate. Well, I probably would be a terrible debate moderator. Let's all, you know what? It's good to know your strengths. That's right. It's good to play to your strengths and not go over your skis too much. And frankly, I think I spend a lot of time over my skis, frankly. But nonetheless, here we go. I'm going to throw myself into my work. David Urban on CNN telling CNN did a better debate. Oh, for goodness sake, just please press the red button. Do you mean me? Oh, okay. Yes, you're so welcome. Okay. Good night, my friends. Sweet dreams. I think Kamala did a great job. I'm very impressed and proud to be a Democrat and to understand how things work. Who's reading? What do you mean? Is somebody reading? Is there sound that I don't know about? No, there isn't. Okay. Okay, I see her. It is on her Instagram. Neil, what are you dating lady? What? Lolo with Carla as backup. Hell yeah. Come on. Oh, Ben Meiselas is reading. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Taylor Swift endorsed. Well, fuck. God, we got Taylor Swift. Whatever. Whatever. We got Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Megan Thee Stallion. Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody. All right. Have a great one. All right, sweetheart. I'll see you on Thursday, Lee. Have a good day at work tomorrow. Don't be naughty, and or be naughty. That's fine. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much. The generosity of everyone tonight was amazing, and your generosity of time and energy. You added to a great chat. So thanks again for coming. We had a very nice group of viewers tonight. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. Come on, God damn it. Wake up. Okay. I think I'm going to take you out with an outro if I know how. Okay? So hold on and we'll see if it works. Okay, bye. I love you. Oh, that's not the right one. Hold on. No. Wait, I want to do this one. God, it's been so long since I played this, but I love it.
We'll make you laugh and think. We bring the drink, no censorship, no missing it with the attitude and sass. We shake up the status quo.